guys, we're going to talk all about half square triangles today and make this really fun quilt behind me. So let's get started. So today we're going to talk all about half square triangles, and I've made this quilt that you can see here using one of the mini layouts you can use with half square triangles. And so I wanted to tell you just a little bit of what I used to make this. You're going to need one layer cake of print, or in this case solids. I use the Tula Pink designer solids for Free Spirit, and just a Kona white background. You're also going to need one layer cake of that. And then I want to show you this great print on the back. This is from Tula's Daydreamer line. I just love this like sunshine rainbows. It's so happy and vibrant, and I used the same fabric on the binding of that. That's a 108 backing, and so this measures 73 by 80. We're going to start by the method I used for this quilt behind me, which is the 2 at a time half square triangle method. So to do that, we're going to grab a 10-inch square of our background, which in this case is white, and a 10-inch square of our print. And you can see here I have drawn a line corner to corner. And so to do that, you're just going to lay your ruler corner to corner, just like so, and use any marking tool to draw that line, because you're not going to see those markings. They're going to be completely in your seam, and so you don't have to worry about using any type of special writing tool. You just want to make sure that it's not going to bleed. And so now that I've drawn that line, we're going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side. And so I'm going to put my line that I drew right on the 1/4 inch mark, and we're going to sew down one side, just like so. Then we can flip this around, and we're going to go back down the other side. Perfect. And so then now we can cut right on that same line that we drew with our rotary cutter. And that gives us 2 half square triangles. Just like that. And so then now we can go ahead and press these to the dark side. You can use whatever squaring method you'd like, but this particular style of half square triangle is going to square up to 9.5 inches. So I'm just going to press these back. And for the quilt that you see behind me, that is the entirety of these blocks. So this quilt is 8 by 9. I did leave a few of my print squares out just because I didn't get enough contrast with the white, and I wanted all of these half square triangles to really pop and give you that contrast of the lights and the darks. And so I left a few out. So if you had a pack that was really all medium tones and darks, so you knew you were going to get the contrast with your background, you could easily make this quilt 8 across by 10. This is just 8 by 9. But all I did was take these squares and lay them out in the same direction. I did kind of try to ombre it up the quilt, so I went from one color to the next, but they're all oriented the same direction. And so you can see you're just going to sit one in after the other, just like so. And you're just going to kind of build out your quilt with all of them pointing the same direction. And you can see how quickly that's going to come together because the block is so fast to make. So now you've learned how to make 2 at a time. Let's talk about how we can do more blocks, because really when you see different size half square triangles in patterns, depending on what fabric you're starting with and what size you're trying to get, is what's going to dictate which method of constructing half square triangles you're going to go with. So this one up next is the 4 at a time method. And to do that, you don't have to draw any lines at all. You're just going to take your same print and background, and you're going to lay those right sides together, and then you're going to sew on all 4 sides with a 1/4 inch seam. And so you can see I've gone ahead and done that here, and now we can just go ahead and cut these corner to corner. So I just want to make sure that my ruler is running right in between where my seams intersect. And I can make a cut this way. And then I can turn and make a cut this way. And now, instead of getting just 2, by using this method, we get 4 smaller half square triangles. And the reason that I wanted to show you all of these ways is you can make this exact same quilt behind me using different sizes. And so again, we're just going to press all of these to the dark side. And from 2 10-inch squares, you then get these 4 half square triangle blocks. And let me measure them and I'll tell you what these would probably square up to best. Of course, it's always going to depend a little bit on your personal seam allowance. And so these would square up to, looks like they would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, even 6 3/4. So any size in there that you're looking for, you can square these up. If you need 6, you can square them down to that. And it's a really fast way to construct 4 at a time and make it easier for you. All right, so then, let's say you want even smaller half square triangles. We can do 8 at a time. So I've got another set here of our print and our background. And in this instance, I have drawn a line both directions. So remember that first one, we just drew a line one direction. On this one, we've drawn a line both directions, and we are going to sew a 1/4 inch on either side of both of those drawn lines. So let's go ahead and take that, and I'll show you what I mean. So remember the first time when we made our big 2 at a time, we went down one side, and then we're going to go down the other side. And we're going to then go intersect that and do the same thing on that other line that we drew. There we go. So I went ahead and did one here where it has darker thread so you can really see the stitching. So you can see that center line that's going both directions is the one that I drew, and the outside line is with gray thread because I wanted you guys to see I'm just sewing a 1/4 inch away in both directions. And so now the magic is usually in the cutting, so let's do that here. And so to start with, I like to cut on those lines just like before. So we'll make a cut that way, and then this way. So then now that we've done that, we're also going to lay our ruler straight across here, and we're going to make a cut both vertically and horizontally to make this into 8 half square triangles. So because I'm using my 5 by 15 ruler, it's exactly 5 inches wide, so I know that I can center it up here on my 10-inch square, and it's going to be exactly right from the edge. So I can make a cut this way, and then do the same thing across this way. And that gives us 8 half square triangles. Just like that. Isn't that amazing? So quick. And so same thing, you're going to open these up and press them to the dark side. But now we got 8 at a time. So let me go ahead and press this back. And these I would probably square up to 4.5. So again, this kind of shows you the staggering in sizes that you get from these different methods. So say you need, that first one I squared up to 9.5. Say you need a 9-inch half square triangle. It would be totally reasonable to go ahead and use that method and square it down to the size you need. And same with each of these, we've got 4.5 here, we've got 6 3/4 here, and so we've got a lot of room in between. And so when you see us teaching the quilts that we design, you're going to see all these different methods of making the half square triangles, because there's always a size that we're looking for. And so whichever method is going to get us closest to the size that we need, that's the one that we're going to go with. So now you kind of know the backstory and why we do things the way that we do. So I have one more method for you, and this is the Easy 16 half square triangle. So you're going to get a lot of small half square triangles this way. And so you can see, same thing, here's my background and my print right sides together, but in this case I've drawn a line horizontally and vertically down the middle of my 10-inch square. And so what we're going to do is we're going to sew on either side of these lines and also all the way around the outside. So you can see here, I've done that with this one. So here's my marks that I drew initially, and then I used gray thread so that you could see. So now I have a 1/4 inch seam on either side of those center lines, and then also all the way around the outside. And so now we're going to cut this apart, much in the same way we had the others. It's just the number of cuts that we're doing. Let's make sure it stays lined up. And I like to go ahead and cut them apart like this to begin, because now I can cut these squares individually. And so then we are just going to cut these, each one of our squares, corner to corner, in both directions. There we go. And you can see each one is going to give us 4 half square triangles. And so if you did the 4 at a time method on a 5-inch square, that's what we're getting here. But by using a 10-inch square, we're getting 16 at a time, which is pretty awesome. So let's go ahead and cut one more of these. So you can see we're just cutting, corner to corner in both directions. We get all of these great little blocks. So let's go ahead and press these. Just like so. And so that gives us a block that should be right around 3 inches. You could square that up to 3. And you can see how quickly and easily all of these half square triangles come together. And depending on what size you're looking for, you now know maybe which method will get you closer to the size that you want. And hopefully that gave you a little background into why you see us teach things a certain way when we are designing and teaching a quilt. And I also, as I was playing with this, I'm pretty sure I could do an easy 32, but the half square triangles would be so small. But it might be worth it if you're working on a tiny project, because if you're like me, I really like small pieces. So I'm going to try that, and maybe I'll show you that another time. But I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into half square triangles. And now you can see no matter what size you make, you can have a beautiful, beautiful impact. And so I want to finish this up by just showing you some of the mini blocks that can be made with half square triangles.